one more video that I hope is helpful as you're helping your student organize their things for English 6. So the literary terms and the index cards that we'll be using. We're going to start with literary terms. When I bought my set of cards, they came with a little plastic cover, which is super nice for durability, but that is not required. So on the literary terms, I have some rules that I'll be giving your student in class. So on the blank side, they will write the term, and if it's a term that we're learning about literature, it'll have a symbol, and if it's from the novel, it'll have either a picture if they choose to draw and illustrate one, or a sample sentence, which is what I mean by give an example of the word being used in a sentence. On the line side, they will put the definition. And it's really important that they write neatly with these and spell correctly. And I will also, on the tip sheet that we talked about earlier when we were talking about the notebook, and the one that you received when we had our student parent teacher meeting night, the tip sheet tells you and shows you the rubric for the words, and they get 10 points for each week doing those correctly. So for literary terms, there are going to be symbols, and these symbols are also in the glossary of their English notebook, where the terms can be found. But the triangle is related to the story chart. So all the terms that relate to the story chart will have a symbol of a triangle, and then anything that relates to characters will have a speech bubble. If it has to do with the story frame or sort of preparing to read the story, that's going to be a square. And then they're going to be terms that have to do with figurative language. So that's a toolbox symbol that the kids will draw, reminding them that writers use these tools to draw pictures in our minds and help us to have connect more meaning to the content of what they're trying to explain to us. And then we will do a poetry unit at some point in the year, and the little symbol for the words that have to do with poetry is a Dr. Seuss hat. It is not red and white, but we can use our imagination. So those are the literary terms. When we get to the novels, I would just start with Narnia, but I did go ahead and put a label. So I've got the Narnia labels, Drawn to Gold, Johnny Tremaine, Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. And the way these will work is they will have to look the definitions themselves up and find one that they think works with how the word was maybe used in the novel. Would be great. And then they want to make sure they spell it correctly and write it neatly, draw a picture, or write a sentence that uses the word in it. So let's see. So we have, for instance, flushed, and a little picture of Charlie Brown there, flushed, but on the opposite side, it gives the definition of flushed. So they do not always have to draw a picture. If that would be something they wouldn't enjoy, then they can just write a simple sentence that gives how that word would be used. So that is an example of the note cards, and hopefully they'll be a great resource for us. I plan to borrow the students' note cards in class so we can play some different games to review the words as well.